We have heard people saying that my past has ruined me. But let me ask you this honestly. At what point does your pain stop being what happened to you and started becoming something that you choose to live inside? This video is not about denying trauma. This is about what do you do after acknowledging it. And that's where responsibility actually begins. In the book The Courage to Be Disliked, based on the psychology of Alfred Adler, Adler said something that made many people uncomfortable and it even felt offensive at first. He said, trauma does not determine your life, but your interpretation and response to it does. He wasn't saying trauma isn't real. He wasn't saying pain doesn't matter. What he was saying was something far more bigger than that. What he actually meant is that past do not control our present until and unless we allow it to. Let's be precise. Trauma does condition your attachment patterns, coping mechanism, self-image, and even the nervous system. Especially in the beginning, conditioning is not a choice. You don't choose your wounds, but you do participate in how long it rules your life. And that's responsibility. Acknowledging your trauma, your past, is necessary. Witnessing what happened to you is important. Suppressing it or pretending it didn't affect you, that's harmful. But there's a thin line between acknowledgement and identification. Acknowledgement says that this happened to me, whereas identification says that this is who I am. And most of the people don't cross that line because staying on the victim side feels safer. Healing requires acknowledgement, but suffering deepens when pain becomes identity. People say that we should not ignore our traumas. Most of us mistake it as saying, let's keep on proving how much damaged I am. And that's not healing, that's identity attachment. And the uncomfortable truth is that the victim role gives comfort. It removes responsibility. It explains your failure and protects your ego. Through it, we also gain sympathy and we avoid risks. Love believes that all behavior serves us a purpose, even suffering. So, no, many people don't stay stuck because they are weak. They stay stuck because at some level it's serving them. But what starts as a protection can slowly become a prison. The past is unchangeable, the future is unpredictable. The present is the only place where power exists, and maybe that's why many people avoid it because the present demands action and not explanations. Healing doesn't happen by endlessly replaying your memories. It happens by how you live today despite the past, your traumas. After all that, one powerful question that you should ask yourself is yes, it happened. But now what? Two people gone through a similar trauma. One builds a life of bitterness and one builds a life of depth and strength. Same past, different presents. Why? Because trauma explains where you have started and not where you should stay. At first, survival patterns choose us. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. In that stage, telling someone to just move on is just as cruel and ignorant. But later, when survival is no longer necessary, those same patterns can quietly keep running the life. That's where responsibility enters. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, said that between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space lies our freedom. And that space is not denial, it's a choice. Even in the movie Good Will Hunting, healing doesn't start when Will explains its trauma. It starts when Will stops using it to avoid life. You are not responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for what happens to you afterward. And that is responsibility and not punishment. It is a freedom to make a choice. A choice that simply says you are not broken forever, you are not your worst experience, and you are not your past. Acknowledge your past, witness it, respect it, but don't build a permanent home there because trauma explains where you have started but not where you are obligated to stay.